Hello and welcome back to our channel, where we delve into the most pressing issues of our time. Today, we're going to talk about a topic that's critical to our future: sustainable development and the role of investment in achieving it. We'll be discussing some key findings from a recent report by the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, or UNCTAD, and exploring what these mean for our global efforts to build a more sustainable, inclusive, and resilient world. So, let's dive right in. The United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, UNCTAD, has recently sounded a clarion call to the world. The dream of a sustainable, green future is at risk unless we can help developing nations bridge a significant investment deficit. This deficit, estimated to be around $2 trillion, is the shortfall in funding required to transition these countries towards cleaner, more sustainable energy sources. The issue of sustainable development and green energy is not just an environmental concern, but also a socio-economic one. Developing countries, often bearing the brunt of climate change impacts, are also the ones struggling to secure the necessary funding to transition away from fossil fuels and towards renewable energy sources. This transition is not a luxury, but a necessity in the face of the escalating climate crisis. The recent report from UNCTAD paints a sobering picture. It suggests that developing countries are facing a staggering $4 trillion gap in sustainable development investments. This figure is double the initial estimate, highlighting the scale of the challenge that lies ahead. It underscores the urgent need for developed nations, international financial institutions, and private investors to step up and help bridge this gap. Rebecca Greenspan, the Secretary General of UNCTAD, has emphasized the gravity of the situation. She stated that a substantial increase in material support for renewable energy initiatives in developing countries is not just beneficial, but essential for the world to meet its climate goals by the year 2030. These goals, set out in international agreements like the Paris Accord, aim to limit global warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius, and ideally to 1.5 degrees, compared to pre-industrial levels. The call for increased investment in renewable energy in developing countries is not just about money. It's about building infrastructure, creating jobs, improving health outcomes by reducing pollution, and fostering technological innovation. It's about providing these countries with the tools and resources they need to build a sustainable future for themselves and for the world. However, the current reality is that the financial resources required for this transition are not flowing where they are most needed. The $2 trillion investment gap for energy transition is a stark reminder of the financial challenges that developing countries face. Without significant financial assistance, these countries may be forced to continue relying on fossil fuels, exacerbating the climate crisis and perpetuating socioeconomic disparities. The world needs to recognize this issue and take collective action. Developed countries, which have historically contributed the most to greenhouse gas emissions, have a moral and ethical responsibility to support developing nations in their transition to green energy. This support can come in various forms, including direct financial aid, technology transfer, capacity building, and policy support. In conclusion, the UNCTAD warning serves as a stark reminder of the challenges that lie ahead in our quest for a sustainable future. The $2 trillion investment gap for energy transition in developing countries is a significant hurdle, but it's one that we must overcome. The future of our planet depends on our ability to support all nations, especially those most in need, in their transition toward a green, sustainable future. While the world has seen a surge in renewable energy investments since the adoption of the Paris Agreement nearly 8 years ago, this growth has been unevenly distributed. The unfortunate reality is that poorer nations have been largely left out of this green revolution. This exclusion is not just a matter of missed opportunities, it's a significant barrier to global efforts to combat climate change and achieve sustainable development. Rebecca Greenspan, the Secretary General of UNCTAD, has shed light on this stark disparity. She noted that more than 30 developing countries have not received a single international investment in utility-scale renewable energy generation since the Paris Agreement was ratified in 2015. This lack of investment is not due to a lack of potential or ambition in these countries. On the contrary, many of these nations have abundant renewable energy resources and a strong desire to transition to a green economy. However, they lack the necessary financial resources and technical expertise to harness these resources effectively. The amount of foreign direct investment, FDI, in clean energy that developing countries attracted in 2022 stood at $544 billion. While this figure may seem substantial, it falls significantly short of the actual requirements for a comprehensive energy transition. This shortfall is not just a financial issue, it's a matter of energy justice. The countries that have contributed the least to climate change are often the ones that suffer the most from its impacts. Yet, they are also the ones struggling to secure the necessary funding to transition to a low-carbon economy. The lack of investment in renewable energy in poorer nations has far-reaching implications. It hampers these countries' ability to reduce their greenhouse gas emissions and adapt to the impacts of climate change. It also limits their potential for economic growth and social development. Renewable energy projects can create jobs, stimulate local economies, improve energy security, and reduce air pollution. By missing out on these benefits, these countries are being left behind in the global transition to a green economy. The reasons for this investment gap are complex and multifaceted. They include perceived risks associated with investing in developing countries, lack of local capacity to develop and manage renewable energy projects, and inadequate policy and regulatory frameworks to attract and facilitate investment. However, these challenges are not insurmountable. With the right support and incentives, developing countries can become attractive destinations for renewable energy investment. In conclusion, the plight of poorer nations in the renewable energy revolution underscores the need for a more equitable and inclusive approach to green investment. The world cannot afford to leave these countries behind in the transition to a sustainable future. Addressing the investment gap in these countries is not just a matter of fairness, it's a prerequisite for achieving our global climate goals. The world needs to come together to ensure that all countries, regardless of their economic status, can participate fully in the green energy revolution. The UNCTAD report does offer a glimmer of hope amidst the sobering statistics. It reveals that energy companies among the top 100 multinationals are increasingly pivoting towards renewables and divesting from fossil fuel assets at an annual rate of about $15 billion. This trend signifies a shift in the global energy landscape, with some of the world's largest corporations recognizing the economic potential and environmental necessity of renewable energy. However, this positive trend is juxtaposed with a concerning slowdown in the pace of investment in renewable energy in 2022. The report indicates a decline in international project finance deals, which are crucial for funding large-scale renewable energy projects in developing countries. This slowdown could hamper global efforts to increase renewable energy capacity and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. The reasons for this slowdown are complex. They include economic uncertainties caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, policy changes in key markets, and technological challenges. However, these obstacles should not deter us from pursuing our sustainable development goals. Instead, they should motivate us to redouble our efforts and explore innovative solutions. In developing countries, the largest gaps in Sustainable Development Goal, SDG, related investments were observed in the sectors of energy, water, and transport infrastructure. These sectors are critical for economic development and improving people's quality of life. They are also essential for building resilience to climate change. Therefore, addressing the investment gaps in these sectors should be a priority for the international community. To do this, we need a multifaceted approach. We need to mobilize more public and private finance for sustainable development. We need to strengthen the capacity of developing countries to attract and manage these investments. We need to create enabling policy and regulatory environments that incentivize green investments. And we need to promote technology transfer and knowledge sharing to help these countries leapfrog to cleaner, more efficient technologies. In conclusion, the slowdown in SDG financing is a significant challenge, but it's not an insurmountable one. With the right policies, partnerships, and perseverance, we can accelerate the flow of green investments to where they are most needed. We can help developing countries build the sustainable infrastructure they need to grow their economies, improve their people's lives, and protect our planet. The journey toward a sustainable future is a challenging one, but by working together, we can make it a reality. According to the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, UNCTAD, foreign direct investment, FDI, is experiencing a significant downturn. Global flows fell by 22% in 2022, amounting to $1.3 trillion. This decline in FDI is a concerning trend, as these investments often play a crucial role in driving economic growth, particularly in developing countries. They can stimulate economic activity, create jobs, facilitate technology transfer, and contribute to the development of infrastructure and industry. The decline in FDI is even more pronounced in the least developed countries, LDCs, most of which are located in Africa. In these countries, FDI inflows dropped by a staggering 16%. This is particularly concerning as these countries are often heavily reliant on FDI for their economic development. They typically lack the domestic resources needed to invest in critical sectors such as infrastructure, education, and healthcare. Therefore, a decline in FDI can have far-reaching implications for their economic growth and development prospects. UNCTAD's report attributes this slowdown in FDI to a combination of overlapping crises. These include the war in Ukraine, which has created geopolitical uncertainties and disrupted trade and investment flows. High food and energy prices have also played a role, as they have increased the cost of living and doing business, making these countries less attractive to foreign investors. Debt pressures have further compounded the problem. Many developing countries are grappling with high levels of debt, which can deter foreign investors and limit these countries' ability to invest in their own development. The report paints a sobering picture of the state of global investment flows. However, it also provides valuable insights into the challenges and opportunities facing the global economy. The decline in FDI is not just a statistical trend, it is a reflection of the broader economic and geopolitical challenges facing the world. It underscores the need for concerted international efforts to address these challenges and create a more conducive environment for investment. Looking ahead, UNCTAD expects the downward pressure on global FDI to continue in 2023. This is due to the ongoing challenges mentioned earlier, as well as new uncertainties arising from the COVID-19 pandemic and its economic fallout. However, this does not mean that the situation is hopeless. On the contrary, it highlights the need for proactive measures to attract and retain FDI, particularly in the most vulnerable countries. In conclusion, the decline in FDI is a significant challenge for the global economy, particularly for developing countries. However, it also presents an opportunity for the international community to rethink its approach to investment and development. By addressing the underlying issues driving this decline, we can work towards a more inclusive and sustainable model of global investment. The UNCTAD report calls for a new compact for investment, proposing a series of policies and financing mechanisms to help developing countries attract the necessary investments. This compact is not just about increasing the quantity of investment, but also about improving its quality and impact. It's about ensuring that investments contribute to sustainable development, benefit local communities, and respect environmental and social standards. One of the key recommendations of the report is debt relief for developing economies. High levels of debt can limit these countries' ability to invest in sustainable development, as they have to allocate a significant portion of their resources to debt servicing. Debt relief can provide these countries with the fiscal space they need to increase spending on clean energy and other sustainable development priorities. It can also help lower country risk ratings, making these countries more attractive to private investors. Debt relief is not just about financial assistance, it's about fairness and solidarity. Many developing countries are grappling with debt burdens that are the result of external factors beyond their control, such as commodity price shocks, natural disasters, and the economic fallout from the COVID-19 pandemic. Providing debt relief to these countries is a recognition of these challenges and a commitment to support them in their development efforts. Another key recommendation of the report is to reduce the cost of capital for clean energy investment. This can be achieved through partnerships between international investors, the public sector, and multilateral financial institutions. These partnerships can leverage public funds to mobilize private investment, reduce risks, and lower borrowing costs. According to UNCTAD, such measures can reduce the spread of borrowing costs for energy investment projects in developing countries by up to 40%. Reducing the cost of capital is crucial for promoting clean energy investment in developing countries. These countries often have abundant renewable energy resources, but lack the capital and technology to harness them. By making capital more affordable, we can help these countries transition to a green economy, create jobs, improve energy security, and contribute to global efforts to combat climate change. In conclusion, the new Compact for Investment proposed by UNCTAD represents a comprehensive and ambitious agenda for sustainable development financing. It recognizes the challenges facing developing countries and proposes concrete measures to address them. By implementing these measures, we can help bridge the investment gap, support sustainable development, and build a more inclusive and resilient global economy. Rebecca Grinspan, the Secretary-General of UNCTAD, has underscored the pivotal role of investment in the realization of the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. The SDGs, adopted by all United Nations member states in 2015, provide a shared blueprint for peace and prosperity for people and the planet, now and into the future. They recognize that ending poverty and other deprivations must go hand in hand with strategies that improve health and education, reduce inequality, and spur economic growth, all while tackling climate change and working to preserve our oceans and forests. Grinspan insists that the SDGs are simply too big to fail, referring to them as the only game in town. This statement underscores the importance of the SDGs as a global agenda for addressing the world's most pressing challenges, from poverty and inequality to climate change and environmental degradation. Achieving the SDGs requires collective action, global solidarity, and significant investment. Investment plays a huge part in achieving the SDGs, according to Grinspan. It is the fuel that powers the engine of sustainable development. Investment in sectors such as education, health, infrastructure, and clean energy can drive economic growth, create jobs, reduce poverty and inequality, and promote environmental sustainability. It can help countries transition to a green economy, build resilient societies, and improve the lives of their people. However, attracting the necessary investment for sustainable development is a significant challenge, particularly for developing countries. These countries often lack the financial resources, institutional capacity, and enabling environments to attract and manage investments effectively. They also face numerous challenges, including political instability, economic uncertainties, and environmental risks, which can deter investors. To overcome these challenges, we need to rethink our approach to investment. We need to move beyond traditional models of investment and explore innovative financing mechanisms, such as blended finance, impact investing, and green bonds. We need to strengthen the capacity of developing countries to attract and manage investments effectively. We need to create enabling environments for investment, through sound macroeconomic policies, good governance, and strong legal and regulatory frameworks. In conclusion, investment is not just a financial mechanism, it is a powerful tool for change. It can help us transform our world, build a sustainable future, and achieve the SDGs. But to do so, we need to ensure that investment is aligned with the SDGs, that it benefits the people and the planet, and that it leaves no one behind. Achieving the SDGs is indeed the only game in town, and investment is a key player in this game. And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the role of investment in sustainable development. As we've seen, investment isn't just about money, it's a powerful tool for change that can help us transform our world and achieve the sustainable development goals. But to do so, we need to ensure that investment is aligned with these goals, benefits people and the planet, and leaves no one behind. Remember, achieving the SDGs is indeed the only game in town, and investment is a key player in this game. So, let's all do our part to ensure that this game is played fairly and effectively. Thank you for joining us today. If you found this video informative, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more insightful discussions on important topics. Until next time, stay informed and stay engaged.